Leech is the newest perk deck added to Payday 2, and it's played differently to other decks. Today, we're sharing 10 builds for it because there were lots of requests about it. They're generally meant to be used for death sentence, however, nothing's stopping you from running them elsewhere. It's been a while since its release, and the hype is certainly not as huge as it used to be. But anyway, I'ma share my thoughts on the deck first. It was released in 2021, but it's not the same anymore. A while ago, there was a nerf that made the perk slightly different. In order to take more shots on death sentence, you're now forced to go for underdog and quick fix aced to get enough damage resistance, which basically forces you to run unsilenced weapons for max consistency. So, is the deck weaker now? Definitely yes. You're forced to spend more points to reach a similar effect to what you could have had before. That's inarguable. Is the deck weak? Nah, it's still at the top. Some say it's supposed to be the new Kingpin, although I really doubt it because they play nothing alike. The kit is slightly overloaded because it has a built-in Revenant tree, heals the entire team, and allows you to tank a lot. I gotta say, I think the concept on its own is flawed because I always prefer it when things have strengths and weaknesses rather than being great at everything. At the same time, it's also a good thing that the deck is there because it can greatly help newer players with getting their DSOD achievements or other stuff. So, how do you play this deck? Well, just do whatever you want. It just doesn't punish dying, so you can't really play it wrong. Each build will have a 2 to 3 minute long gameplay, so you can see how it performs and whether you like it. And one more thing, every single build uses succ, and my choice of melee is the weapon butt, but you can use anything you want as long as the detection risk remains the same, so I will not list them during the builds. That being said, let's start. For the first build, we are going with M308 and a 5/7 modded for high stats with crits. Leech can be played without hostage taker, especially when you're running first aid kits, but there's nothing wrong with picking it either way. The setup can also be easily played without ammo bags, as long as you ignore dozers. However, sometimes the game decides to spam more than a few of them, and then the situation is just not as colourful, especially if most of them end up being minigun dozers. So in the end, we're going with one ammo bag. Since we have facts and we want to have an ammo bag as well, we will need jack of all trades for that. The rest is nothing special, boosting stats a little bit, crits, and 9 lives. Power wise, this setup isn't very outstanding, but the survivability is great. Also, the primary deals a lot of damage, so with that one ammo bag, dozers stand no chance. Normally, I wouldn't recommend this build for people with not the greatest aim, but I added Bullet Storm to the skill set, so even if you happen to miss a lot, that skill will help you deal with the situation.
Get up! Not much further now. Get up to the tower on the right. Drop it, you wanker! Here's a first aid kit. Down on the ground. Get a move on. Move.
Platypus with the default sight is not what you see every day, let alone one with Patchet as the secondary. To this day, I have not unlocked half of its attachments, but the setup was effective nonetheless. This time, we're skipping Hostage Taker because there weren't enough points for it, and as I said before, the deck can be played without it. For max efficiency, we're still going with max damage reduction and unsilenced weapons. However, to make the setup easier to play, I decided to go for Scavenger and fully loaded Aced. It would be somewhat playable without them, but the overall experience would certainly be more painful, especially if you happen to miss too much. Truth be told, even with fully loaded Aced, you might want to be slightly careful with the trigger, especially if you're used to very ammo efficient setups. This build is far from amazing, but it's playable enough. The third setup is what would normally be somewhat inefficient ammo wise, but we have the solution. GL40 is a great tool for dealing with groups and will help you maintain ammo as well. The secondary is the succ pistol, which is very similar to the strike. Similarly to the previous Mastermind setup, we're only going for the HP boost that the convert gives because it's very valuable on decks with tons of HP. Our solution to not the greatest ammo efficiency is once again fully loaded Aced, which makes this setup not just playable, but also really great on CQC maps. On maps like Goat Simulator or Heat Street, you might want to try something else. Otherwise, there's just no need. Pistol skills at the end to boost the damage further, and that's it. Commando is overall one of the worst assault rifles in the game, and normally you definitely want some silencers on it to boost its god-awful stats as much as possible. Accuracy lower than 70 might seem unplayable, but I ran the setup on Goat Simulator and it wasn't too bad. So we're gonna skip the silencer. The ammo is not an issue at all, so you could go with 5.7 if you'd like, but since that's what I use most of the time, I decided to go with the compact grenade launcher because why not? In the skill set, there's only one goal, boosting the rifle as much as possible. So, steady grip aced, body expertise aced, high value target aced, and unseen strike aced. The overall DPS boost you get from them is pretty huge, and makes this setup rather playable on all maps.
Run like your mattress is on fire. Drop the fucking gun! Down on your fucking knees! Full gun comes on. Get on fucking hands up! Here's a first aid kit.
Alright, I'm here. I'll get the costume.
I've got a first aid kit here.
The range hitter is our primary here. It can't one-shot heavy units on its own, but don't worry, we have a solution for that too. Since the secondary is a Dragon's Breath shotgun, you might already have the idea of what we're doing. And yeah, Overkill Ace is our way to go to make sure we can one-shot the heavies. If you really want 9 lives, you can remove Underdog Aced and Steady Grip Basic, but I would advise against it. The damage reduction heavily increases your survivability, so I don't think being able to down once more is worth it.
We're ready. You see the balloon?
The white thing floating in the sky? Got it. 2 minutes to touch.
Hot is starting hot, guys. Don't let the cops grab any coats.
Here's a first aid kit. I need a medic, man. Hey, guys!
Thanatos is mostly used against dozers, and this build isn't any different, although I like using it against the regular units as well. For the secondary, I decided to go with the high damage SMG. This part is up to you. I decided to go for Body Expertise Aced to make the SMG more powerful, but you can always switch to Graze instead if you want to make Thanatos the main weapon. To make things more interesting, this time we're not going for the tankiness in the slightest, and that means the ammo bag is the only deployable we will carry. It means the build is significantly weaker in terms of survivability, but I did not feel like making 10 builds the same way.
Drop the fucking gun! Neil, the end of the medic! Drop your weapon! No, cops! Hands in the air! Drop it, you want to! Get on the fucking hands up! Cops up!
Primary Akimbo Judge with AP is pretty fun to run, and that's what we'll do. The secondary is not something you see every day, and truth be told, I don't blame anyone. The single Goliath variant is infinitely weaker compared to its Akimbo counterpart. We're facing the exact same situation as in the previous setup. Survivability is reduced for the price of the ammo bag. Triple SMG setups are common and often boring to use, especially when it's 3 high damage SMGs with ammo bags, so we're gonna try something different. Once again, we don't care about the increase of survivability, and we're skipping ammo bags. I went with fully loaded ace, so you ultimately can go for them, but I played the setup with medic bags. The biggest surprise might be the lack of akimbo ace, especially with a setup like this. Another option for you is to keep fully loaded basic. This way you'll have the points for it, but I like this setup as it is. Another setup with GL40, but this time with incendiary rounds. They're nothing special overall, but it's cool to run them from time to time. Since the previous GL40 setup used a pistol, this time we're going with an SMG. The skill set contains nothing worth mentioning that I have not already said. Kimber's strike can only mean one thing, but we'll talk about it soon. As usual, it's paired with 5.7 as its secondary. This time, we're getting a bit of everything. The increased survivability is there, the ammo bag is there, surefire ace is there, and obviously the damage is there too. This setup means one thing, the end of dozers. When you run this setup, this is your only job. Ignore every unit on the map in order to kill one dozer. If there's a risk of you custodying, fuck it and just kill the dozer nonetheless. Dozer, dozer, dozer. Okay, I'm kidding, don't do that. Unless you want to. At least that's what I did. That's it for today. I gave you a couple of decent builds and a couple of average ones to make the list more interesting. Personally, I would like for Leech to be slightly reworked instead of nerfing it in a way that can be worked around, but oh well. Thanks for watching anyway. Don't like the video? Don't subscribe. If you are a subscriber, then unsub and definitely do not check out the videos that are being displayed right now.